another week of not much to share, but I'll share it anyway. What do you think, Floofies? There you go. Ow, ow, pointy, you're pointy. So, I mean, when I say not much to share, it's not much at all. I sewed this dress, and then I'd had this cut out since February of 2018. So I finally went ahead and sewed it, and I realized that the reason I hadn't sewn it back then was because that was right when I was starting to come to grips with the fact that I have a mom body now, and I didn't think it would fit, but it had been in the drawer in the bottom of this thing that the dolls are on. What are you doing, Floofies? And I wanted that drawer for something else, so I was clearing out the stuff in the drawer, and one of the things in it was the cutout pieces of this. So I went ahead and I sewed it, and I think I did a really good job of it. There's top stitching everywhere. And normally I've noticed that the more the top stitching contrasts with what it's stitching, the worse it is. But I used a dark blue, I wouldn't say it's all the way to navy blue, but blue top stitching, and I think it turned out really well and nice and even. And anyway, I tried it on and it didn't fit, so I thought I would add a skirt to it. It's supposed to be a tunic, you know, it's supposed to be loose enough to put other stuff under, so I thought I'd add a skirt to it to make it a dress. And I wanted to do a handkerchief hem skirt for a while, so I went ahead and did that on this. I also cut it at the curve because it has, like everything I sew, it has pockets. What are you doing, Floof? And I didn't want to lose the pockets, so I cut that out in a way to maintain the pockets, and it technically fits, but I don't like the way it feels on my body. And I realized, as much as I love these prints, these are really not my colors, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this, but it turned out nicely. But sewing this was what I did on Saturday, and sewing this was what I did on Sunday and a little bit into Monday. But I did take some time to do dolls odds and ends. Like, let's see. This is not the order that I made them in. Let's just see what I'm going to show you. I wanted to try, you know, my extended sleeve shirt pattern has fit so many different dolls, and I wanted to try making it for other sizes, and last week I showed you it's the Blythe size version. So I had mentioned I wanted to try making a 60 centimeter doll version, and this was my test. And I'm not sure if it fits right or not. That was doll wig hair on it, because it's a really stiff cloth, so it's not too drapey. And like I said, with this kind of dress, there is no right fit. Like, the looser it is, it's just loose. It's not an incorrect fit. So I don't know if I'd say this is successful for those dolls or not, or if I still need to. Where you go, Floof? You went down. Or if I still need to work on it. You gonna step on me? There, you want to get in the chair? Let me get down on the chair. Floof is not a jumper. So I sewed this, and it does fit on the doll, but I'm not sure. I'm going to try it again eventually in a looser, lighter weight fabric and see if it drapes better. I'd almost made this use this cloth, this print for jeans for dolls, but I obviously didn't. I think this was Susan cloth, and this is used up all of it. So that's the thing I sewed, and then working with the Blythe sized version. What are you watching, Floof? I made a galaxy print. This is covered with cat hair. I can't imagine why. This is with some of the cloth that Cosmo sent, thank you, and this is going to be sent to John for his smaller dolls. Because once I get done with this huge trade that I'm trying to work on, I gotta get to John's stuff because his birthday was a couple days ago. So I am not forgetting that. I'm just feeling guilty about it. Do you want out, Floof? Or are you just gonna stand there? So then I wanted to sew, like try to make a dress version of that. And instead of adding the skirt to it, I just extended it and made this. I think this is cloth I got from Phantasm Creation. I forgot it had birds on it, or else I would have used it for stuff for Elizabeth Plaid in the last big trade, but I forgot. So I sewed this because I changed wigs on this doll. She had been wearing a floofy pale blue mohair wig, and this is, I just wanted to change her wig. Eventually I will reroute this doll. This is a vintage head that I thrifted. Well, I thrifted the whole vintage doll. Of course, had a terrible blow molded body, and it's on a Project MC Squared body. It's not a great color match, but it's okay. And this is one of the wigs that Fire Spirited Safi made, and I just have the ends tucked up inside instead of cutting it, because I don't really know how to curl a fake fur wig. I'm sure it can be done, but this is super. So I made this for her to wear, and I did not like it on her at all, so I just changed her into clothes I already had and had made years and years and years and years ago. And then the only other doll thing I sewed, well, someone had posted pictures of the next Close Clip Sheep Momoko, and we're all kind of baffled by the Close Clip Sheep Momokos are expensive because they're super limited, and apparently this one also uses the new Little Sister body, I think it's called, the shorter Momoko body. So that makes it more expensive, but usually they have either super simple like t-shirt and jeans or bikini underwear clothes or kind of stylish clothes, but this one just had this weird triangular shaped blue knit dress, and we're kind of making fun of it, so I wanted to take some gag photos of Momoko, so I made a quick bad version of it. And then I felt guilty for dressing my Momoko in that, so I made her a different shirt using the smaller Blythe size version of the extended sleeve shirt pattern, and I believe this again is Susan cloth. And this skirt, I think somebody gave it to me, and I made these years ago. So pretty much everything else I've been doing has to do with sewing, human-size sewing. Like I want to make a dress with a Halloween print, but one of the elements of the Halloween print I don't like, so I want to cover it up. So that will be a lot of things to cover up, and I don't mind appliquing, but I figured it would be a real pain to try to pin everything in place, so I ordered a pack of Wonder Under, which makes anything into iron-on fabric, so I can cut out stuff and iron it all over just to hold it in place and then sew around it. And also, I have discovered the fashion style called granny chic, which is related to cottagecore. And right now I think that's the style for me, but I'm not sure. I tend to go around and around with this stuff. But part of it is layers and mixing prints, and like I said, everything looks like it comes out of your great-great-granny's attic. But one of the things I really want to do is make this apron shorter to use as a layering piece when it gets cooler outside. The thing about this apron is it has a lot of bias tape on it, and it's bias tape you're making yourself, which I've already cut the stuff out, but I really was not looking forward to ironing in one edge and ironing the other edge and folding, or I guess when you're doing it manually you'd fold it all in half and then go back through, and this is like yards and yards. What is it? It's makes, I don't know how many inches it is, but you need like over a yard of cloth to cut into the bias strips. So there's like yards and yards and yards of it to sew on. And to make it, you would fold it and iron the whole length of it, and then fold it open, and then fold it in a half again, iron the whole length, and then you would, I ordered a gadget. I ordered a bias making gadget, and what you do with this as you feed the bias strip through, and you pin it down on the ironing board, and then you just start pulling this, and it folds the two sides over, and you iron it as it comes out of this thing. And then you still have to go back through and fold it in half and iron it. Yes, I know technically it's not quite half, because for bias to work properly, it's more like this when it's folded, so that when you're sewing with the shorter side on top, you will absolutely catch the side on the bottom in your stitching, so you don't have any missed stitches. But I also ordered one of these, which holds the bias tape for you right around the edge of the cloth while you sew, because I do love my sewing aids. I feel like calling them gadgets is disrespecting them, because they really do help. And then the other big thing I did, well, it's big for me. Okay, I think I've told you about this house. It's a weird house. We have the main floor, which I'm on, and then there's a basement. But the basement is a daylight basement, so it's like, it's nice and finished, and my doll room used to be down there. And there's like a big room down there that was husband's wargaming room, because he likes tabletop games. And also his main computer was down there. But then when he started getting into gaming, like computer gaming and modding, he built a computer up here. But he didn't think he was going to keep it up here, but then he realized, yeah, he liked being up here with everybody else. So he had a folding table that had initially just been temporary, just to put the stuff on while he was working up here. And then he basically, moved in, and his folding tables. We have an open plan, so the living room merges into the dining room, and then the kitchen. So it's technically in the dining room, but it's as good as the living room. It's like right in front of me. If I could go through the closet in the wall, would be where the kiddo has his computer, and then husband's computer. So it was a little alarming every time the kiddo would go over to use his dad's computer, because the whole thing would wobble so much. So I had been on the lookout in thrift stores for a computer desk to buy to replace. Like, the kiddo has a great table I found. We think it probably came from a restaurant or a conference center or something. It's this really solid, heavy pedestal table. It's not technically a desk, but it works perfectly for the computer, so either looking out for another one of those or a computer desk for husband to use. But then I also had the idea, if I looked for just a table, then I could put my sewing stuff on it. And then the computer desk that I had been using in here could go out to him. So last week I actually did go into thrift stores and didn't find anything. I actually went to the thrift store today and didn't find anything either. Well, no, I found a Mario blanket for the kiddo. A sheet that I'm going to make into a blanket. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. I'm trying to bulk this video out. So last week I'd gone into the thrift store and there was a table. It was beaten and battered, but it was very obviously from, I'd say, the early 50s at the latest. It had like the laminated top in the pattern called Cracked Ice, or Formica's Mother of Pearl. I don't know why I know. That one with all the, it's called Boomerang, is actually called Skylark. So I don't know why. I know a little bit about vintage Formica. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked again. I hear floof jingling in the hallway. So anyway, it was the laminated tabletop, but the base of the table, usually when you see vintage tables with laminated tops and the metal edging, you see metal legs on them, but this one had wooden, dark stained wooden legs in the cabriole shape. So it was really weird. I thought it was two different tables put together, and it was really weird. And it was $15, and I liked it, but I didn't like it, and I finally said there was no way it's going to fit in my car. So I walked away and left it. Yesterday I had to run errands in that direction, so I thought, I'm going to go in there. Floof, you just came back in. So I said, I'm just going to run in and see if they have that table. I'm getting it, and so if it's in my car, I'm going to take a pair of pliers with me so I can undo the nuts holding the legs on. Because I had looked all over it and I knew how it was put together. And I walked in and there it was. So it's like, all right. And I actually It's not a big table, so I picked it up and carried it to the front, and the lady, the register said, "Oh, where's the other ticket?" What? There's supposed to be 2 tickets on it. There's one that's for us, for the store copy, and one that the customer takes up to the register so they can buy it with us, so we can move it. It's like, oh, this was the only thing on the table. She said, "Oh, okay, well, I have to, it's store policy, I have to page 3 times asking to see if the person with the ticket is still here." So of course she did the first page and then a big line forms. So she eventually does the 3 pages and no one shows up. So I take the ticket over, and it happens to, I didn't even realize, because they don't put color price tags on the tables, on the furniture. They just check off what color it's supposed to be. It was color of the week. So I got this table for $7.50. She wouldn't let me disassemble it inside, so I had to go out on the sidewalk outside the store and disassemble it. At least there was breeze, and there was an awning. It's still, you know, stinking hot. But I got it disassembled and in my car and back home and put in here. And so if I'm like a little farther from the camera, that's because this table is deeper than the desk I had before. It's not as wide. So I think the surface area there's actually more. But I got it cleaned up a little. Like I said, I might refinish the legs sometimes, I might not. And I'm proud of, I got my power strip like up under the table, so it's not like being strapped to a table, the desk like it was before. And just when I walked into my room this morning and saw this beat up old vintage table instead of that sleek modern computer desk, it just made me happy. So don't know when I'll be sewing doll stuff again, but I'll be doing it on a happier tabletop. And next week is going to be my last video before the big trade people come over. So again, I'm not sure how much sewing I'll be getting done between now and then, but hopefully my brain won't rebel like it did last time and say, "I want to sew doll clothes, I want to sew all the human clothes," and I'll actually get stuff done. We'll see.